Okay, let's jump right in. Getting a job offer from DreamWorks Animation. I mean, that sounds like hitting the jackpot, right?
Totally. Peak career goal for many.
But here's the thing. Our subject today, Don Allen Stevenson III, he actually landed that job through an Instagram DM.
Wow, seriously. An Instagram message.
Seriously, and honestly, that's just scratching the surface of this really fascinating career. So this deep dive, it's all about understanding how he strategically navigated all this rapid tech change, how he built this, unique and constantly shifting professional life.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, I think, is that his path isn't just like a straight lineup. It's more a series of really smart, well-timed pivots. We're going to look at his business evolution, focusing on the thinking behind those shifts as technology changed around him.
Exactly. And we've got a great source for this, Don Allen Stevenson III, Business Evolution. It really lays out the timeline, shows his adaptability. So our mission today, for you, the learner, is to pull out the key insights, the actual principles from his story. How did he manage it? What can you learn about thriving when tech is just constantly throwing curveballs?
Think of it as a shortcut, maybe. A way to understand a really forward-thinking approach to building a career today.
Right. So let's start at the beginning. The early foundations, maybe early 2010s, laying the groundwork.
Makes sense. Back then, Don was at San Francisco State, graduated around 2015. And even then, you could see him mixing art and tech in his work.
And his experiences were pretty broad, weren't they? Like RA, event photographer.
Salsa dancing, light painting.
Yeah, quite the range. Do you think that mix gave him a sort of unique viewpoint later on?
I think it definitely points to someone comfortable in different worlds, right? Able to connect dots others might miss. That kind of interdisciplinary thinking, even with hobbies, probably built a good foundation for dealing with tech convergence down the road. He wasn't just stuck in one lane.
Makes sense. And you see that in his early internships too. Joyous, that e-commerce media startup.
There's a production assistant there.
Right. And then GuideSpark as a motion graphics designer. So that early focus on video, animation, key digital skills.
Absolutely. And if you think about his business model then, it was pretty straightforward, right? Trading his time, his creativity for learning, and, well, income.
Yeah.
Standard stuff.
Sure, but he was clearly soaking up a lot of different skills and experiences, setting the stage.
Exactly. Which brings us to the mid-2010s. Things shift. That DreamWorks pivot.
Yeah, that feels like a massive jump. How did that actually happen again?
Well, this is where the building in public idea really shines. It shows how sharing what you know can open, well, unexpected doors. Big ones.
So he was live streaming 3D software tutorials on Instagram. Just putting it out there.
Yep. Teach people how to use the tools. And, well, apparently some folks at DreamWorks Animation were watching.
And then just a DM with a job offer.
Basically, yeah. Boom. But, was it just luck? I doubt it.
What do you think made his tutorials stand out to, like a major studio?
Well, probably a few things. Consistency, for one. The clarity, how well he explained things, the quality of his work. Even in just tutorials, it would signal deep understanding, real passion. It's like a living, breathing portfolio, seen by the right people at the right time.
So he lands there around 2017, specialist trainer for about 3 years, teaching the entire 3D pipeline.
Yeah, everything from modeling to rendering.
To seasoned animators and TDs. Wow, think about the deep dive he got into professional workflows there. Cutting edge stuff.
It's like getting the keys to the kingdom, insight-wise. But what's also telling is, even with that demanding job, he kept messing around with new tech on the side. AR, 3D.
And kept building that Instagram presence. Sharing personal projects, doing live talks.
Right, so you've got the steady paycheck, the traditional job security.
But he's also investing in his own brand, exploring these new frontiers. It's an interesting contrast.
And the big takeaway from that period, pretty clear, I think. Sharing your knowledge publicly, putting your work out there, it can genuinely create opportunities you just wouldn't expect. DreamWorks is proof of that.
Okay, so moving into the late 2010s. Now we see the side hustles really taking off and this big experimentation phase with XR, extended reality.
Right. Still at DreamWorks, but he starts diving deeper into XR, AR, VR, the whole spectrum. And social media becomes his stage. This was around when Snapchat and Facebook opened up their AR tools.
Lens Studio, Spark AR.
Exactly. And Don jumped right in, an early adopter.
Creating AR filters, adding digital stuff to videos, 3D characters popping up.
You're not just making them, but showing others how to make them too. Sharing the process.
He had that phrase, right? The Bob Ross of the metaverse.
Yeah. Love that. Making this complex tech feel approachable, fun, like Bob Ross did with painting, demystifying it.
And you can really see the shift here. He's going from just employee to, well, creator educator, building this reputation as the go-to guy for future tech, nerdfluencer basically. AR, early crypto art stuff.
And that reputation starts paying off. He picks up freelance XR gigs, some big names too, Lil Nas X, Cardi B, King Vader.
Wow.
And he's using social media as his portfolio and his distribution. Super smart.
It's fascinating how directly his career moves track with the tech, isn't it? AR/VR tools get easier to use, more people are interested.
And boom, Stevenson's right there, ready to ride that wave.
It really highlights that core idea he seems to follow: grab onto emerging tech early and learn out loud in public.
Yeah, it's not just about mastering the tech for yourself. It's about building credibility, opening up new ways to earn new kinds of influence.
Okay, so the next big strategic jump. Around 2020, maybe 2021, he decides to go full-time. XR creator, advisor, leaving DreamWorks. That must have been a huge call.
Big leap for sure. But you have to remember, by then he'd built something really valuable. That social media following. Over 100K people.
Right, a built-in audience.
Exactly. Not just numbers, but engaged people who wanted his specific expertise in XR. He'd kind of de-risked leaving the stable job by building his own platform first.
So his focus shifts, making AR effects, tutorials, tech demos, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
And consulting too, helping companies, other artists figure out AR, VR, even NFTs, which were just starting to bubble up then.
Right, NFTs. You mentioned he experimented with crypto art. What was that like for him early on? What kinds of things was he doing?
Well, his early NFT stuff involved creating and selling digital art, often using his 3D and AR skills. Like many pioneers, he was probably drawn to the idea of, new ways for digital artists to unsell their work, the whole potential of it, even if it was still pretty wild back then.
And the pandemic really seemed to pour fuel on this fire, didn't it? Everyone's online.
Oh, absolutely. And he was smart about it. He tapped into those viral moments. Remember the Squid Game AR costume?
Yeah. And the Ariana Grande Fortnite filter.
Exactly. He jumped on trends. People loved using the filters, shared them.
Free marketing, basically.
Totally organic spread. As he said, he didn't need paid ads because people were just using his stuff and sharing it. Very savvy.
And look at the income streams. Brand partnerships, client work like that Ritual Met Gala outfit for Lil Nas X.
Platform creator funds, paid speaking gigs. He was becoming this recognized authority.
It just shows that adaptability again. Not stuck on one platform, one type of content. Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, dabbling in crypto art, NFTs.
The pattern is clear. Diversification. Platforms, formats, revenue. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Makes you much more resilient.
So then we hit 2022, 2023. Generative AI explodes onto the scene. DALE2, GPT-3.
And guess who's ready to jump in?
Don, of course. But how did he approach it? Did he see it as a threat?
No, quite the opposite, it seems. He saw it as a way to enhance his creativity. He started weaving machine learning into his AR filters, using tools like ChatGPT to help with brainstorming, scripts, emails, streamlining the business side.
And his public image shifted a bit too, right? Became more of a creative AI evangelist.
Yeah, really educating people on how creators could leverage these powerful new tools. And then he wrote the book, Make a Seat.
Discovering opportunities, leveraging technology, and building resilience. That really cemented him as a thought leader.
For sure. Another income stream, plus major credibility. And you saw him speaking everywhere, TEDx, MIT, Cannes Lion, Meta, Google, OpenAI, even teaching on Masterclass. He was really scaling up his educational impact.
So the business model expands again. Book sales, speaking fees, workshops, online courses, less reliant on single projects, more on his own IP and expertise.
And that adaptability, it's always there. He starts calling himself a creative AI research lead, really highlighting how AI and XR were coming together. His influence in the AI space just kept growing. People started calling him a prominent voice.
It really underscores that need for continuous reinvention to stay relevant, especially now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which leads us pretty much up to date 2024, 2025, and another twist.
Yeah, this is interesting. He takes a leadership role, creative AI pipeline director at Asteria, a generative film and animation startup.
It's almost full circle, isn't it? Back in a team environment, but right at the bleeding edge of generative AI for animation.
So he's applying all that experience, blending human talent with AI tools, but now within a company structure.
Right, bringing that unique, multifaceted background to their production pipeline. But he hasn't ditched the personal brand.
No way. He was in Mark Zuckerberg's Meta Connect keynote, wasn't he? Showing off his AI chatbot clone.
Yeah, That was pretty wild. Basically, a digital version of himself that could handle DMs, answer common questions.
Freeing up the real Don for the bigger picture stuff.
Exactly. It was a great demo of how AI agents could help creators manage that constant interaction, save time. And it definitely cemented his relationship with major tech players like Meta, showcasing their new tech.
So this current phase feels like it's about scaling his impact, collaborating within Asteria, but also as this public figure. And the income streams look pretty solid. The leadership role, book royalties, speaking, sponsorships probably.
And still always adapting. That seems to be the constant.
So looking back at this whole journey, what are the core themes, the patterns that keep popping up?
First off, just relentless learning and stacking skills. He seems committed to learning something new constantly. That's clearly fueled every pivot.
Definitely. And building in public, that Instagram live stuff leading to DreamWorks, that's huge. Nurturing the personal brand.
Then there's being an early adopter of platforms.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to jump onto Instagram early, then Lens Studio, then TikTok, going where the action is.
Right. And crucially, diversifying income, moving from just a salary to freelance, products, community support, building that financial safety net.
Can't forget the strategic pivots timed with tech shifts. XR, crypto, AI. He doesn't just follow trends. He seems to anticipate them, or at least react incredibly fast.
And underlying it all is that resilience, that make a seat idea. Not waiting for permission, just actively creating his own opportunities.
So given all that, where might he go next? It's always tricky predicting the future, but...
We can speculate based on the patterns, right?
Sure. Given his AI agent work, maybe we'll see more development there. His AI persona becoming more advanced. Maybe even offering that tech as a service to other creators. AI persona consultant.
That makes sense. And with AI democratizing creation, maybe his focus shifts more towards curation, high-level creative direction, more structured training, like that Camp Future-Proof idea he mentioned, or even developing his own AI-assisted creative tools, maybe founding his own startup.
Possibly. And robotics is another area. Imagine combining his XR and AI skills there. Advisor to robotics companies. Directing immersive shows using robots and AI.
Wow, lots of possibilities. But the core pattern seems likely to continue, adapting ahead of the curve, exploring where tech meets creativity.
And that mission he talks about, inspiring and empowering others to innovate, that seems like it'll remain central, whatever he does next.
So for you, the learner, listening to this, what are the big takeaways? I mean, Don Allen Stevenson III's journey really hammers home the power of nonstop learning, building that public presence, being ready to shift with the tech, and diversifying how you earn.
Absolutely. His story shows that staying curious, really embracing change, can open up paths you might never have imagined, really fulfilling careers.
Which does raise a question for you to think about. How are you approaching new technologies right now? Could you apply some of Stevenson's ideas, like building in public, actively learning new skills in your field, or even just adjacent areas? What kind of seat could you be building for yourself in this future that's changing so fast?
It's definitely food for thought. We'd really encourage you to check out more of Don Allen Stevenson III's work. Maybe grab his book, Make a Seat, or just dive deeper into XR, generative AI, AI agents, robotics, whatever sparked your interest today. Look up his social profiles, his talks online. There's a lot more there.
Yeah, definitely worth exploring. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.